Right, I'm just going to jump right in and do a short review on the Rig 400LX gaming headset from Plantronics. So I bought this, I did some research ahead of time, and if you've read any online reviews or watched any review videos for headsets, people are focusing on things like the audio quality, comfort. They're not really diving into some of the specific things that a gaming headset needs in order to be worth its weight or worth anything at all. So my criteria for a gaming headset was fairly simple. I wanted something wired so I didn't have to worry about charging it. I also didn't want the extra weight, the batteries, that comes along with batteries in terms of wireless headsets. I wanted something that would give me 3D surround sound, and I wanted a controller or volume controls right in line or on the controller. I didn't want to have to go into the Xbox interface to adjust the volume. So the Plantronics 400LX, LX, did a good job of that. Plantronics 400LX met all that criteria. It seemed like a clear winner. It was $100, which is a pretty good price point for a like a premium gaming headset, actually mid-range gaming headset, I guess you could say. So I read the reviews online. I didn't see anything to discourage me. I did see that they had like the 400HX and other models. I looked at the Plantronics website. It really wasn't clear what the differences were. So what I found in my research since buying this has really opened my eyes to the gaming headset world and kind of the snake oil that they're all selling. So I'm going to jump right in and explain some of the differences so you can save your money. Spoiler alert, I'm getting ready to return these, so that'll give you an idea of my final verdict on them, but I'm going to give you a quick overview. So one of the other criteria I also had was I wanted it to support Dolby Atmos. So as you can see on the box right here, this does. For those of you that don't know, Dolby Atmos is kind of the newest range of surround sound that gives you elevation as well as surround, so you can hear what's above you or below you. And what's happened recently, first of all, it used to be if you want a surround sound in a gaming headset, you had to pay a whole bunch of money, right? And within the headset, in a normal surround sound system, you've got speakers positioned all the way around you, so you can get sounds from behind, the sides, you can hear where the enemies are. The gaming headsets advertised like 7.1 surround sound, but it really wasn't true surround sound. And I'll explain that essentially the best way that I can. And that each like ear cup didn't have 3 or 4 different speakers in it, because even if it did, that really wouldn't give you the effect of surround sound. And you only have 2 ears. So when you think about how you perceive sounds in space around you, you're really only listening through stereo. You have 2 ears. And it's kind of the balance between those things, as well as some other kind of acoustic trickery that gives you this perception of where the sound is coming from. Headset makers used to build that technology into their amps that power the headset. So essentially they take that 7.1 signal coming out of your Xbox and they would process it and deliver it into stereo speakers in a way that gives you the perception of sound within the space. Well, Xbox is now doing that like within the console with something they call Windows or Microsoft Sonic. Okay, so any stereo headset now can plug in your 3.5 millimeter port on the bottom of your Xbox Elite or newer Xbox One controller. And if you enable Windows Sonic, all of a sudden now you have a surround sound headset that's actually better, supposedly, than the 7.1 processing that's happening on the more expensive headsets like the Turtle Beach, etc. So that's interesting. They also have Dolby Atmos, which is a version, it's just like Windows Sonic, but it's made by Dolby. It's supposedly a little bit better. It costs $15 if you want it on your Xbox. It's a one-time fee. Or if you buy a set of Rig headsets that has a little marking on the box, you get a code that includes it. Cool. All right, so we're good so far. This headset met all my criteria. Brought it home, hooked up Dolby Atmos, played with it. I really enjoyed it. It sounds great. I can hear where the sounds are coming from. Big problem as soon as I start playing with friends. And that is, it doesn't, or I should say, the mic monitoring is not adjustable. For those of you that don't know what mic monitoring is, it's something that you take for granted until you don't have it, and then you realize how much it sucks without it. So basically, you put these things on your head, it muffles out all the sound. You can't hear yourself talking anymore. Mic monitoring takes some of the feed from your mic and feeds it back through the headset, so it's like you're not wearing a headset, so you can actually hear your own voice, which is important when you're talking, because if you plug your ears or you're in a really loud area and you try to talk, you find yourself talking really loud because you need to hear yourself in order to enunciate properly. With these headphones, you can't do that. They do have mic monitoring, but it's not adjustable and it's very, very quiet. So if you're playing a game and there's no other sound, yeah, it works fine. You can talk, you can hear yourself pretty well, no adjustment would be needed. As soon as gunfire or anything else starts, you can't hear yourself talk anymore. So now you're like screaming, you can't hear yourself talk, it's very distracting. It's like plugging your own ears and trying to talk. And do that for a few hours and tell me that doesn't get old. So that's really annoying. Now, and I did contact Plantronics, by the way, and you cannot adjust mic monitoring levels on this particular headset, or really any of their headsets. And let me explain, let me give a little asterisk caveat there. So the difference between the 400LX and the 400HX, even though one says it's a stereo headset, the more expensive one, the LX, doesn't mention that anywhere. It says surround sound. Well, it's BS. They both support surround sound using Windows Sonic or Dolby Atmos. The difference here, the difference between those two, as far as I can tell, is the headsets are identical. One of them costs $50 more. So the LX costs $50 more because it includes this amp with inline controls, which is awesome because you can adjust the volume, you can adjust the chat volume, you can mute while you're playing. All important features. The problem lies in the fact that when you're using this amp, you have no control over the mic monitoring level. So when you're using this amp, everything's great except you can't hear yourself talk. I find it extremely infuriating and borderline unusable. Now, if you just plug your 400 headset directly into your Xbox One controller, you can go in the Xbox settings, you can adjust game volume, chat mix, as well as mic monitoring levels. And it works pretty well. It's a good headset. Except I paid $50 extra to get this amp that's essentially unusable. So you could buy the 400HX, which also includes the Dolby Atmos code, plug it directly into your controller, and you have the exact same setup I have right here, and it works pretty well, except you don't have any inline controls for volume, game chat, or mute. You've got to go into your Xbox interface to do that. Not too big of a deal. I mean, for $50 or $40 or whatever the 400HX costs, not bad at all if you know that going in. So, knowing all of this now, I would say buying the LX is a huge mistake because this amp makes the headset almost completely unusable if you plan on communicating with friends at all during the games. And from what I've read about the 800 series, which is their wireless one with 24-hour battery life that everybody says sounds great, super comfortable, I believe all that, but again, the mic monitoring level is not adjustable, which to me is a complete deal breaker. So, the LX comes with this amp, which is the, what amp is it? It's the LX1 Pro Level amp. Pro Level meaning somebody at Plantronics has never actually played any kind of competitive multiplayer and didn't think to include mic monitoring adjustment within this. So this is just garbage. I'm mad at myself for even buying this. That's why I'm returning it. I'm going to swap it out and get a different headset because it's basically unusable for playing online games with your friends when you use this amp, and the amp added $50 to the price for no reason at all. So, in conclusion, if you're not spending like $200, $300 on like a set of Astros or the high-end Turtle Beaches, then you basically want something that plugs directly into your controller so that you can take advantage of the Dolby Atmos and the mic monitoring level adjustments. Some of the wireless ones, they do have their own independent mic leveling adjustments, mic monitoring level adjustments. I know some of the Turtle Beaches do. It's a very, very important feature. I didn't realize how important it was because it's not emphasized by anybody, but it's extremely important. So basically, if you're going to get a set of Rig 400s, get the HX without this crappy amp because this takes away the ability to monitor your mic, which I think is absolutely critical in any kind of competitive gaming. And despite their kind of misleading marketing, there's really no difference as far as I can tell between the headset that comes with the 400LX and the headset that comes with the 400HX. Even though the HX one, they say stereo on it, I think to try to trick you into thinking that the LX is some kind of superior headset with more speakers in it. I think it's the exact same thing. They're both stereo headsets, which is all you need to use Dolby Atmos as well as Microsoft Sonic. So in conclusion, I think in reality, just about every gaming headset is stereo. It's just the processing going to it that creates the surround sound. So now you have a choice. You can either go with like Turtle Beach or Astra's 7.1 channel mixer and surround sound, or you can use the built-in one on the Xbox One via Windows Sonic, or pay a little bit extra and get the Dolby Atmos. But ultimately the whole surround sound thing, marketing in gaming headsets, is a little bit of snake oil at this point. A few other things to note about this headset. It is wired, which is fine with me. I knew that going in. I do not like that there's a wire going to each side. I think that's kind of redundant. Well, I guess it kind of saves on this space, but a little bit redundant. It gets in the way. It has a tendency to tangle up your hands a little bit more rather than just one cord going up to one side. It is a really light headset. It's very comfortable to wear. Not a lot of adjustability. You basically pop these ear cups out of the frame and you can move them up and down. There's 3 slots on each side. I've also found you can reverse the frame to give you a slightly different fit if it starts to become uncomfortable after a little bit of time. The mic is removable. Mic quality seems good. I didn't get any complaints from anybody except for when I tried to put it really close to my mouth in order to hear myself. Then everybody said it sounded terrible, so I had to move it away and I was back to not being able to hear myself talk. Cord's kind of old school, rubbery, not the cool braided new kind. Again, no inline mic controls if you're not using the amp, and if you are using the amp, you don't have the ability to hear yourself talk. I did switch back and forth between just plugging straight into the controller and the amp in a game of Forza 7 just to see kind of sound quality differences, and it does sound different. So I get a louder sound when I'm using the amp, but I feel like I get more of a kind of a crisp, raw sound when I'm directly into the controller. I think the amp takes a little bit of that away. So I'm not an audio expert. I'm not going to claim to be. I'm just talking about the function, the usability of this, and in this case with the amp, it's basically unusable in multiplayer games. It's a really bad experience and I would not recommend it. That's it for now. Hope you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, thumbs up please. I'll try to do some more gaming related reviews in the near future.